one of the best moves I've made in the real estate business. With 25 rental properties, there's always something that needs fixing. And one of the best moves I made was paying a guy, 25, 30 bucks an hour. And like, I just know he can fix almost anything. And like, that is like the best money I've spent.
In today's episode, we explore how to build your real estate portfolio without burnout by aligning your investing, your entrepreneurship, and your life priorities instead of chasing the next shiny object. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Freedom Blueprint. I'm Adrienne Green, and today we're here with Cameron Philgreen. Here, we focus on how real estate entrepreneurs break free of the grind using leverage, support, and smarter strategies. So let's jump in. Cameron, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Super stoked to chat. Come on.
Well, to set the stage for our listeners, can you give us a quick snapshot of your real estate portfolio today?
Yeah, so I'm about 25 properties, something like 35 units. 80% is residential, about 25% commercial, depending on how you calculate, whether it's square footage or units. So I have about 60,000 square feet of commercial space, less square footage of residential, and I've been on the real estate investing journey for about 6 years, from one owner-occupied house to about 30 properties, 25, 30 properties in 6 years. And it's been a great and super fun journey.
Love it. And I can tell that there's going to be a lot for us to talk through here with the growth you had over that time and the fact that you're in a couple different areas of investing. So love that. Let's start kind of along your journey. Many investors and listeners, they're a few deals in. They've got their first few deals done. And then what helped you shift from that stage of, doing a few deals to intentionally building this scalable business around your real estate investing?
Yeah, so I think the bottleneck for most investors, and for sure for me, was capital and the labor. So really good contractors are hard to find. Everyone has their own contractor story. Everyone has had to fire a person or two. If you've been investing long enough, and if you do value add real estate investing, which usually involves aesthetically improving property or otherwise improving the utilities or whatever, you've dealt with your fair share of contractors, whether you wanted to or not. So I've had to, make a few mistakes hiring the cheapest guy. And I'd say that was a huge learning point and a huge hurdle that I had to get over. And so now it took me a long time, but I've got this great crew of guys. They're not the cheapest, but they get it done fast. They do good work. They know how to finish. And I'm just like super happy. I give them a ton of credit for the success I've had flipping and doing burrs. And I can just count on them. I just trust them. And we just know how to work together. I know what they're good at and what they're not good at, what they're comfortable doing, what they're not comfortable doing. So that's a huge one. And then, capital is a big one too. And that's why I spend a lot of time on social media and at meetups, is like building trust with people, showing them I know what I'm doing, and working with, usually it's individuals, married couple or some individual who just has money sitting in the bank and they want to, make 12% or 10% on their money, and it's all secured against the real estate. And so having those connections with just a few people, like 3 people that I have that just trust me to get their money back to them within a few months, and they're making a good return. So those 2 things, definitely, like if you can get capital and contractors that you can trust and you don't have to babysit, those are the 2 things that helped me definitely get to more scalability.
Love that. I think that it definitely can resonate, especially when you speak about the contractors and, having the headaches with them. Yeah. Like it's funny because I think when people think of value add, they always think this is easy, right? This lets me recycle my capital. Like I can burn, I can have a property with no money in it. And the truth is there's no free lunch, right? If it's going to be light on the capital, it's going to be heavy on the work often, right? So I'm curious, you mentioned the contractors, and what I love you said, I think for both, you don't need a ton, you just need a few that are really reliable. Does this mean that you really have gone deep in one market where you've got that team of boots on the ground?
Yeah. All my stuff is in Waco, Texas. So yeah, I haven't scaled out of state yet. I'm definitely looking to do that in the near future. I'm trying to be like you. You're, overseas right now and doing real estate investing. It's amazing. Trying to get on Adrienne's level. So yeah, everything I do is like here in Waco, and I'm kind of like visiting the projects every week or two, making sure things are going smooth. And I'm doing, just so you know, in terms of scale, I'm doing like 12 flips a year. So
awesome. And I was going to ask, so you visit the properties every week. Are you general contracting yourself, or are you having a GC who's overseeing that team?
Yeah. So I have a guy who is kind of the boss of these guys. So he's kind of the GC, but I'm the GC and I sort of manage him, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
he's not like super professional. Now I work with other contractors, and there's another guy. I've actually given him like he's advertised on my podcast. His name's Miguel, and Miguel Maldonado, and he's like super professional. But most of the guys I work with, they're not like super tech savvy or anything like that. But
Right.
they swing hammers and they get it done.
I have a question along that line. We do travel internationally, and language learning comes up as a part of international travel. I'm wondering, you mentioned Miguel, obviously Hispanic. Do you speak Spanish? Do you find that's helped or been a hindrance, whatever your level is, with this endeavor?
I try to speak Spanish because most of the guys that I work with don't speak any English. So anytime I'm on the site and talking with these guys, I'm talking in Spanish, but I'm not great. So I'm not gonna like attempt to do it on this podcast, but I'm trying to get better. But I'm curious about you. Like, are you multilingual? I mean, you're overseas. I don't know if you want to say where you are. Are you a big language
Yeah.
learning person?
So I am in Vietnam, and we do love Vietnam. We're in the middle of about 4 months here in Vietnam. It's our second time here. And the challenge is Vietnamese is a very difficult language for English language learner or English speakers to speak. It's a tonal language. So the same word means different things based on the tones that you put on the different letters
Wow.
within it, which is pretty cool. But as a family, we've focused on learning Spanish. We've spent a lot of time in Spanish-speaking countries, and it's been really cool. I will say it's amazing how challenging it is for me and how great my kids have been at it. Like I know they say,
That's
"Oh, they learn
crazy.
languages
Yeah.
easier." Definitely seen that be true.
That's
So.
awesome. Yeah, I hope I can get to a Spanish-speaking country with my kids sometime. That's awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah, it's been a cool adventure, but raising them to potentially be future real estate investors, and in the U.S., I feel like Spanish is the most helpful second language to have
Yeah.
in general, and with real estate investing in
Yeah.
particular. So I appreciate you sharing how that works for you. And yes, speaking of foreign language, like for listeners, speaking a foreign language casually, face to face, is different than speaking it on like a recorded public podcast. Because I have a good friend who English is not her first language, and she and I like would do Instagram lives and stuff, and she's totally fluent in English, and yet it's still stressing to like speak publicly on a recorded
Yeah.
platform like that.
I
So,
imagine
yeah.
so. Yeah, you don't have the body language and the context clues and everything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. All right. Now that we've had this wonderful little foreign language side conversation, I'm curious about which structure you've had. So you're doing 12 flips a year. That's a lot. That's a lot that you've got to manage and keep going. Kudos to you. How do you keep track of it all? Like what structure or systems helps you do that and helps control the chaos?
Yeah, so finding the capital has gotten really easy over the past, gradually easier. So if you're in a place as a real estate investor where it's hard, you get a deal and you're like, I don't know where the money's going to come from. I got to, where am I going to come up with even a down payment? And it just feels so daunting, but it gets easier. The more you build trust and the more you connect with lenders and hard money people, that's just not hard anymore. So I send a promissory note, and then usually title creates a deed of trust. So that's that side of things. Very easy to like get the
Hmm.
deal and get under contract and like, close. And then, I think I'm still trying to create a better system with my flips. It depends on how deep we go. If we're redoing the kitchen, I'm usually out there laser measuring the kitchen, and I'll design the kitchen. And once I design it and I order like as much material as possible, I order like, $10,000, $15,000 on Home Depot through the bid room. You can save money and get it all delivered to them, and then a big fat Amazon order. And that's pretty much it. So I measure the kitchen. I order cabinets, countertops, as much material as I can from Home Depot and Amazon, and that's my system. So I get it all there, and then my job is done. So they take it, they put all the pieces together, they know what to do, if I've given them plans. So the planning phase, that takes a few hours of my time. And that's something that
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking about delegating this next year. Is like, okay, I got to get this planning and ordering material thing delegated and give that ownership to someone else and pay someone else to do that. And that would be a huge lift for
Hmm.
me since we're talking about systems. But that's kind of what I do. And then they take it, they finish it up, and then I list it with a realtor. So I'm not a licensed agent. So I list with an agent.
I love that. And, you speak about all of this, very matter of fact and casually. And yet I know that there's a lot of trial and error that goes into that. And some of the things I love about what you're sharing is like, you do everything at once so then you can move on, right? You're not
Yes,
continuing to come back and like touch this and mess with it again. And because they have everything, like there's never the law, it's never slowing down the rehab that they don't have the flooring or they don't have this, they
exactly.
don't have this. Like they
Yes.
just got everything and they can work as fast as they can work to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, every job site is different, but most of these residential properties, there's somewhere to put everything. And if your guys are moving fast enough, and if you have a crew of 4 or 5 or 6 people, it's not going to be a problem to have all the material there. Like they can move it around if they need to. And I've just found that is super helpful for them because I don't want to be the one slowing things down. If I don't have the material there, I'm the bottleneck. I'm just like, let's get everything on site and then just be done. Yeah.
I love it. I think, knowing that you've really put a lot of thought and are really intentional with this, I understand you have a brick and mortar business, like you're a business owner outside of real estate investing. Do you want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about your other business?
Yeah, and I was just on Bigger Pockets. Actually, the episode came out a couple days ago, and those guys came to Waco and visited our. We have a coffee shop, and I told them like, listen, guys, and listen all to the audience. Like, the only reason I have this coffee shop and that we're able to open this is because of real estate investing. So it was our first house. We didn't know what we were doing up in Lawrence, Kansas. We just bought this dinky little 3-bed, 1-bath and lived in it 2 years and rented it for 3 years. And then we sold it tax-free. It was about $100K tax-free gains. It's an IRS rule, the 2 of 5 year rule. You can look it up. And then we took all that money and put it straight into this commercial property and like gutted the whole thing and started a coffee shop because I'm just a coffee nerd. I love specialty coffee, love pouring lattes and latte art and pour overs. And just so you have an idea of the vibe, we take coffee really seriously. And anyway, we opened this shop. It's like big, 2,800 square foot, awesome shop with an in-house scratch bakery. We have bakers there every morning at 4 a.m. And, started my dream business. I mean, there's not like a ton of money in coffee. I didn't start it to like make a ton of money.
Right.
I started it because I love it and I'm passionate about it. And I just want to create a third space for people to go on dates and like do business meetings and, whatever, meet with your friends. Like, I just love the coffee shop vibe. And I love, we have a great team and I've just learned a lot about myself as far as leadership goes and, and hiring and learning to like fire people and all the hard stuff too. And it's just been a lot of fun. And the
Right.
only reason we were able to do that, guys, is because of this dinky little 3-1 house that we bought. We didn't know what we were doing. We put $5,000 down and fixed it up a little bit, did a little bit of like aesthetic improvements. And that turned into, you just never know what it's going to turn into. What is your passion? What's your brick and mortar business that you want to start, or what's your service-based business that you want to start? What's your passion project? And you never know like what dinky little house will turn into the fruition of your passion project.
Right. The doors that can open to do what you love because of real estate investing. Love it. Well, Cameron, on a side note, and for all of our listeners who are also coffee fiends, you'd mentioned wanting to go to a Spanish speaking area. Colombia, as I'm sure you know, coffee growing country. The coffee region in Colombia is amazing to visit. And there's an area, Salento, UNESCO World Heritage Site with the tallest palm trees in the world. So easy to get to from the US, recommend that. And when you guys are ready to go further afield, Vietnam has a pretty cool cafe culture as well that we
Love
enjoy
it.
a lot. My kids,
Love it.
it's funny, my kids, they're like, can we go to a cafe? Like, I want to go hang out
Right?
at the
It's such a
cafe.
great,
It's such a
that's
big
the
thing
thing.
here.
And like, what other kind of like place do kids and adults both want to go? Like, it's coffee and restaurants, and it's just it's a great business. Yeah.
It is. I love it. I love that you've provided that to your community. So let's see. Obviously, there's so much overlap that you've already spoken about between what you've learned and developed as a business owner in your brick and mortar business and in your real estate entrepreneurship. You've spoken about like leadership, hiring, firing, probably some strategic planning, some financial forecasting. I imagine there's a lot of skills that have played a part in both worlds.
Yeah, for sure. I like spreadsheets. I like financial planning and forecasting. I would say I don't spend too much time in the analytics and like the Excel spreadsheets because, you can only forecast so much. At some point, you got to go and like do the stuff and like take action. So if I'm in a meeting and we're just looking at spreadsheets, I'm like, guys, what's on the list to do? Like, let's go make this thing happen, and I've been in some of those, to be honest, with this new commercial project. I'm with a couple partners and it's more serious and it's a lot more money and there's like a lot of different tenants and LOIs and the construction is just like a lot. and I'm GCing the whole thing. I'm like, guys, what do we need to do? I understand we're going to make money. Like, let's stop figuring out how much money we're going to make. Let's go do the thing. Like, what actions do we need to take today, this week? And so anyway, it's good to like start from 3 years from now and work backwards. You know, what needs to happen this year, what needs to happen this week, what needs to happen today. Love it. I would encourage people, like, honestly, don't spend too much time over analyzing, whether it's a single family residential property or multifamily or a bit, you know, a $5 million, you definitely can overanalyze. And then you're going to like talk yourself out of stuff, you know, because you get fearful if you overanalyze. So that's kind of my take on financial forecasting.
If you're a real estate entrepreneur trying to scale while doing everything yourself, there's a better way. The Time and Freedom Starter Pack gives you the exact first steps to reclaim hours each week with real support, including what to hand off, where to start, and simple tools you can put into place right away. Download it for free at adriennegreen.com/starter pack. Now let's get back to the episode. Yeah, no, I can resonate with that. And so many people, opportunities can be gone. You can spend so long analyzing the deal that the deal is no longer available because somebody else has already snatched it up.
Exactly. And I'm all about analyzing, but just do it back of the napkin. You don't need a 15-page spreadsheet. Like, I just use my calculator on my phone and usually the Notes app to understand, like, you know, cash flow. And I have an ongoing sort of property units spreadsheet that I look at like once a week. Like, I do that stuff. I think it is smart. It would be stupid to not do the math. But if the math works, like on your phone, just like calculator on your phone, you know, just don't spend, don't spend too much time analyzing. It should be like one day of analysis and then like, you know, if it's a deal or not.
Yeah. I like the phrase of like having a bias for action.
Yeah.
Seems like that describes you well.
That's right.
I love it. So let's talk about one of the things, you know, you've already hit on with your coffee shop and with your real estate investing is delegation and leadership. You are not out there swinging the hammer, you know, making the lattes. You have people to do that. Now, that is tough for a lot of people, right?
Super hard,
hand off control. So as you stepped into leadership, what was hard about letting go of control and how did you work through that?
That's a good question. I mean, I still am trying to let go of control. You know, I'm still trying to learn to, okay, this doesn't need to happen like today. Specifically with handyman stuff, I tend to be the first guy to, sign up to like get this thing done. One of the best moves I've made in the real estate business, with 25 rental properties, there's always something that needs fixing. And one of the best moves I made was paying a guy, you know, 25, 30 bucks an hour. Like, that's pretty good for a handyman. I think in some areas that's a lot. Some areas that's a little, but just paying this guy, and like, I just know he can fix almost anything. And like, that is like the best money I've spent. And then, you know, at the coffee shop, that's a whole nother world. Just like learning to create SOPs and get people trained up quickly. I have a great manager girl. I'm still very much like the GM sort of operator, but we have a great team. I have a great manager. I have a great head of bakery, great head roaster. And guys, like, hire people that are smarter than you and better than you. I don't know anything about baking, so I hired someone who knows everything about baking. This is embarrassing. I don't know how to roast. So I hired this guy who has years and years of roasting experience. You know, I'm more the front of house barista, like bartender type of person. I love it. I love the social sort of performance with the like manual performance and, you know, the art and everything. And actually, funny enough, I'm getting way off track. I took that test in college that tells you like what your primary career should be that you should study for. And mine was bartender. That was my number one that the University Career Center spit out at me. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'll take it. So it's kind of funny. I'm like fulfilling that with the barista thing.
Right.
Anyway, but just learning to delegate. So now I used to be behind bar and I used to hop behind bar a lot more. And now I'm behind bar, like actually working at the shop about once a month. I'd say I kind of have to get behind bar, or I like choose to because I want to, because I love it. So I'm learning to delegate and give other people ownership and give up control for sure.
And how do you decide what should stay on your plate versus what needs to be delegated or supported by the team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mixture of knowing like what you're good at, what you're like really, really good at, like 10 times better than other people. And so for me, you know, email and admin, like I can get back to emails so quickly. And I'm not quite at the point where I need an EA to like handle my email. It's just not that overwhelming. You know, I'd say like planning the kitchens and designing, I kind of have that architecture bend. And so I really like it. And I think I'm good at it. I need to pass that off eventually, but just learning like, what are you 10 times better than other people at? Kind of focus on that until it's time to pass that off to somebody. And like, what is your time worth? Figuring that out. If my time, I'd say I'm like anything under 200 an hour, I'm looking to pass that off to somebody else. So yeah, like, what is your time worth? If it's 50 an hour, try to pass off to somebody else anything that's less than 50 an hour. And that's been super helpful. Also, a great book, someone that will speak better on this than me. I'm 33. I'm still learning how to delegate and like, how do I, I'm also still not making like a ton of money like other people. And so like, what is my time worth? I don't want to overinflate what I'm worth. That's stupid. But this guy, Dan Martell, wrote a book called Buy Back Your Time. And he actually has like formulas that break down who you should hire first and like, how much is your time worth based your gross annual income and things like that. So a great book if you want to learn more about buying back time.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for repping that. Dan Martell's book prompts a lot of people to get virtual assistants. So I love it.
Yeah.
Very nice. So let's talk about another piece of this growth game, which is burnout. So many investors, they scale their portfolio, but then they just feel more and more trapped, right? More and more is on their plate. They start to feel burned out from all this work. What guardrails or wisdom do you have so that you're able to grow, have a pretty sizable portfolio, and also be doing a lot of flips without burning out?
Yeah. So I love this because I think, like spending time with family and learning to rest is like super important to me. So like for us, our guardrails, just real practical, are like I'm working 8 to 5, pretty much 5 days a week. So at 5 p.m., I'm like in the house, phone down, full on dad mode with my 3 little kids. And my wife is like full-time mom during the day. And then we do Sabbath on Saturdays. So we rest and I don't work on Saturdays and I don't work on Sundays. And well, I'd say I'll like send a text and like during the kids' nap. So I'll be on my computer for an hour or two on those days. But for the most part, it's just family day. And so that might not work for everybody, but that's just like the boundary that we've set up. And having a 1 day of rest, I would say that's not for everybody. But I think what is for everybody is having 1 day of rest. I think it's a biblical thing. I think it's good for humans to have 1 day of rest a week. So if you're not prioritizing that, I think you're definitely susceptible to burning out quicker. Having 1 day a week to rest and like not touch your computer is really good. And then having like one, I think vacation is a good thing too. I think it's good to like take 1 week a year or 2 weeks a year, do what Adrienne's doing and like travel the world and like just check out for a minute. And
Right.
I'm talking about rest, but also obviously we just talked about delegation and hiring a VA and passing off tasks to other people. That's a huge one too. That's more day to day. So I just wanted to hit on the importance of rest a little bit.
Yeah. And what I love, Cameron, is like you knew right away what your guardrails were. Like these are your working hours. This is when you put the phone down and this is your Sabbath day. And there was no question about it. And so that's one thing, whatever somebody, for listeners, whatever your guardrails are, they're black and white. They're not being questioned or anything like that. It's really simple and it just gives you that mental clarity to say, is this a yes or is this a no?
I will say my wife has been a huge help for me. Like and like many of your listeners might be more along the workaholic like me. I just love working, it's just fun. I love pushing the ball forward. And so having like being on the same page with your partner, I think is super important. Asking them like, what do you want from me or need from me in terms of like work and work-life balance, work-family balance is really helpful for us.
I love that. And I think my next question is kind of along the same line of thought. I'm sure you have got a lot of opportunities. Real estate investing is full of opportunities. It's easy to get shiny object syndrome and want to do the next hot thing, right? There's so many strategies. And how do you evaluate opportunities through the lens of your values of, faith, family, long-term peace, and not just go chasing the next hot return?
Yeah, it's good. For me, my mission, actually my real estate company is called 610 Real Estate, and it's named after Matthew 6:10, which is your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And for me, like my mission as a real estate investor and as a business person is to do that, is to bring the kingdom of heaven to earth And so I do that through making property more beautiful. I do that through creating the third space, like the coffee shop, for people to meet and hang out. And yeah, and so if it aligns with that mission, then I'll usually jump in and do it. And so, the money will come, and I'm not worried about that. Like this big commercial deal, it's not like we're getting like a quick return or we're not getting rich quick. I think we'll have a big exit maybe in 3 to 5 years. But our goal, our mission with this 2 blocks of commercial space is to bring the kingdom of heaven to earth, to improve the neighborhood, to create a space for families to meet and hang out and eat and drink and be merry. And like, that's our mission. So it doesn't even feel like work most days, because I just spoke at the neighborhood association meeting a couple weeks ago, and they're like thrilled that finally this huge distressed eyesore is being fixed up. That just feels really good and really fulfilling, more than, yeah, we made $1 million. Like, it's so much more fulfilling than that. And while I like making money, I think it's wonderful. Having a mission or a bigger why behind making money is so much more important.
I love that. And what I love, Cameron, is like you knew right away. And that's the thing, when you've got a legit like mission and vision that you're working toward, when someone asks you about it, because it's something you rely on to guide your decisions on a
Definitely,
daily
yeah.
basis, right? And, we can show how all the studies have shown that being motivated by something other than money makes you achieve more, gives you more peace,
Yeah.
all these things. It's also just a great thing to have. So listeners, right now, if you don't have a mission or a why for your real estate investing, you're going to become a better investor and a happier person when you take a step back and realize, why am I doing investing in the first place, and really create that vision and that why that you're working toward. Well, Cameron, this has been an amazing conversation. I love everything you've shared and how you really just opened up and been so authentic. If people would like to connect more, be interested in, maybe working with you in a lending capacity or something like that, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. My Instagram is Cameron_Philgreen. YouTube channel is getting vamped up this year. I'm actually documenting the whole process, fixing up that property over the next year or two. So that's Cameron Philgreen on YouTube, and everywhere else. I'm not a huge LinkedIn guy, but probably Instagram is the best place to reach me. My website, CameronPhilgreen.com. You can book a free 15-minute call, and I have a free ebook if you want to get started in real estate investing. I also have a course about the Burr method and how to do it, and you come with me to fix up 2 houses and refinance them and rent them out. So you can hop in there and do that. I also have a mentorship program if you're interested in that, and would love to connect with you. So thank you.
Lots of opportunities to collaborate. And for our listeners who are in Texas and maybe in Waco or going through, what's the name of the coffee shop?
For Keeps. It's called For Keeps Coffee. Look it up on Instagram. Follow us. We put a lot of effort into social media, and so it'd mean a lot if you'd follow, and then we'll keep coming to mind, and that way when you're going through Waco, you can stop through.
I have been through Waco, and I would have loved to go to your coffee shop. So next time I'm driving
when
through.
When did you come through?
I'll be there. It was 2023, August of 2023.
Yeah, we opened March 2023, so we were open, but darn, we missed you. Next time.
I didn't know. We won't make that mistake again.
Awesome.
Thank you again, Cameron. And for our listeners, what I would love and what I always ask is, think of the real estate investor who could really benefit from hearing Cameron's story, and just shoot this over to them right now. And then wherever you're listening, please just subscribe and leave a review. It helps us out a lot. Then join me again next week for another episode of The Freedom Blueprint.